He couldn't barely ride a horse, that guy. Honestly, he's a king of no talent.
Off with his head.
He's a king of no talent. He shouldn't have so much money.
Off the revolution.
Green lefty king.
What about
shouldn't
Camilla?
have 640 million quid. Give it to me.
I'm grumpy, and much to Kev's hatred, I'm still in a hat. And welcome to Kev, and welcome to Mike, who are always grumpy. We're going to kick off with...
At least we're not wearing hats.
You say that. Maybe you should. Over your face. Anyway, inquisitive people.
Badly dyed hair.
Yes, inquisitive people.
That's my natural colour, actually.
This is probably not the best way to describe the people I'm about to talk about, but these are people who come up and ask you questions, right?
Journalists.
Randomly. No, journalists. Hardly ever been asked a question by a journalist, you know, because whenever I do get asked anything by journalists, I just want to F off, basically. Yeah. I don't speak to them. But no, these are random people who just come up to you in the street and ask you questions.
Sorry.
You know.
Well, you mean your fans, Mike?
No, I'm just talking about random people who come up to you in the street and ask you, say, for example, for directions.
Directions.
Or,
not doing a questionnaire. I'm just doing a questionnaire.
No, or there's those kind of people as well. We don't go near them.
You hand them off like you're playing rugby.
Yeah, I palm them off. Yeah, that's not a problem. But it's people, because they'll ask, they won't just ask, I mean, directions is the sort of the low end of the scale, but they'll sometimes ask really stupid questions. I was walking around in Trafalgar Square the other day, and somebody, because I was on my way from Leicester Square. I was on my way from Leicester Square.
It's because one leg. Well, he lost one of his heels, so he's just.
Where's Mike? Oh, he's down Trafalgar Square again.
I was walking down from Covent Garden to meet somebody for a drink in Westminster, so I thought rather than jump in a taxi, I'll walk.
It's a nice walk.
It's a nice
walk.
Lovely walk. And this American stopped me and said, "Could you tell me how old this is?" And I said, sorry? Pointing at Nelson's column.
Oh, Nelson's column, right.
And then he did his flies up.
Pulled something out of his
Can you tell me how old this is?
How old is this?
No, but...
Same age as you.
I was quite taken aback. I said, a couple of 100 years, I don't know. It just kept going. And I thought to myself, who asks somebody that who's just wandering past them? How old is it? Because, you know, they're obsessed.
I have this idea of you now on the top of one of those open-top buses going, stop asking me bloody questions, you lot. Just look at the sights.
Just listen.
Yeah, on your left, you've got this column with some bloke on the top.
I mean, I don't know about you, Kev. You were on the tube, someone asked you a question?
I take the tube every morning, right, to go home. Yeah. And the other morning, somebody asked me a question on the tube. But nobody on the tube talks.
You don't talk on the tube.
No.
What is wrong with people?
You ignored him.
Well, it was a
breaking the
woman.
rules.
She said, is this the right way to Stratford? And I'm thinking, well, there's a map there. It says Stratford on the sign. What do you think?
If you're coming to work, he's going the wrong way.
I've got a slight confession.
I was going home.
I've got a slight confession to make.
Go on.
One of the things my son and I like to do, which is a fantastic game that we play, is if we're out somewhere in the car, in the countryside, we stop, ask someone for directions, and when they start giving you directions, you drive off. Yeah. It's a great game.
Yeah, I've been doing that for years. It's a very good game.
That's terrible.
No, they get halfway through, and if you check them in the mirror as you drive off.
But it's like, for example, in the countryside,
it is a funny game.
In the countryside, when you're out walking the dog, people say hello to each other. That's fine.
Yes, no
no problem with that. But if somebody stopped and wanted to have a conversation, you'd be like, what's wrong with you? Just don't do it. Don't ask me any questions either. But they've taken to doing it with the dog. How old is he?
Do you think?
Right?
Because I mean, you've got a what could be a mistakenly friendly exterior.
Maybe that's what it is.
And they just come bowling up. I'm going to go and talk to that guy. He looks lovely.
How old's he?
So when they asked, does this go to Stratford, you just like bank them?
I just went,
Well, that's the answer.
I get it with my dog. If I'm out walking, we get that a lot because we've got an Irish wolfhound, so we get. Who's walking who?
Yeah. Get all that.
Or where's the saddle?
Yeah. Or how much does he get through?
First time I went
how much does he eat?
First time I went to New York when I was a teenager, late teens. I was trying to find Times Square like a tourist, and I went up to a cop, a New York cop, and I said, "Excuse me, sir, could you tell me how to get to Times Square, please?" He goes, "What am I, an effing travel agent?" He didn't say effing though.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
It's like the old joke. How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
You gotta practice.
Yeah. Anyway, BBC Secrecy, Kev. The BBC secret.
Well,
Come on. Which secrets?
It's just emerging that ever since 2000.
Not a secret then.
Well, no, it has been a secret since 2012. It's just emerging that the BBC executives were firing emails between each other back in 2012 about Hugh Edwards' dodgy behaviour. And they've kept...
What's Hugh done? Sorry, it's passed me by. What did he do?
He's not been behaving well.
Is he not reading the news?
No, he's taking a pension under false pretences. Plunged what?
He plunged
He's retired.
He plunged his once glittering career into a state of disgrace.
I'm glad that's what he ended up saying.
I was going to
say.
He plunged all sorts of things all over the place.
Oh,
but they
sorry,
keep
just threw up in my own mouth.
The BBC, we have to pay for the BBC, right?
Yep.
170 quid a year or whatever it is. And it's always been like this because I've been reporting on the BBC for many a long decade.
Did you used to review TV?
But I also was a reporter on showbiz affairs as well. And the BBC has always been like this really, really secretive organisation that its major task in life is to make sure that we, the licence fee payers, don't know anything about it. Yeah. So they keep it secret about Martin Bashir and Princess Diana. They keep Hugh Edwards secret. They keep Tim Westwood secret. They keep Russell Brand secret. And it all blows up in their face. Jimmy Savile, of course, being the worst. Rolf Harris. I mean, actually, by the way, why do so many pedos work at the BBC?
I don't know.
What is it? Is it the paedophile exchange or something that they advertise?
I guess it's a place where
wanted.
I think they flush them out mainly now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many pedos.
Well, that's what they said before.
I mean, the trouble is they employ so many people. Maybe that's just a regular proportion of paedophiles.
But it's an instinctively secretive organisation.
I mean, if you were
doesn't want to tell us
BBC
anything
now, you'd kind of feel like your number was up, wouldn't you?
You'd move to Oxfam, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's what you'd do.
But
I mean, you can't go to the Catholic Church anymore.
No,
it's falling apart at the seams, though, and it's falling apart.
Chicago, Pope Bob.
Anyway, there you go.
Anyway, the secret's out though. Anyway,
what a state.
There we go.
So this grump is dedicated to a man called Steve Smith. Now, I was in the supermarket earlier today, and I met our one viewer.
Oh, good.
A man called Steve Smith.
How is he?
He was a very nice man.
Excellent.
And you know what? He had an air of grumpy about him.
Was grumpy? Yeah.
And I asked
He's carrying a white stick. Yeah.
Well, no, no, he's a very nice man. He had a hat on.
If you're blind, it doesn't mean to say you're not nice.
No, well, just saying. You seem
visually impaired.
Visually impaired, if you don't mind. But I asked Steve came up. He said, "I watch you on Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah.
I love you guys. So thank you very much, Steve."
Well done, Steve.
And I asked Steve,
all right.
what was he grumpy about? And he said, customer service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody ever calls you back anymore. And part of this is the chatbot.
Yeah.
Right? So you go onto a website and you go to the help section.
Yeah.
And this bubble comes up and says, "Can I help you?"
Yes. My name's Kim.
Oh, those things.
Yeah, it's like,
it's awful.
I don't think, no, you can't. But then you think, all right, well, look, what option have I got? Because there's not a telephone number.
Right.
There's not, it's like, I would like somebody to call me. Oh, okay. Have you been to our website? Like, I'm on your website, for goodness sake. That's how I've ended up talking to you.
Oh, man, that's awful.
And then you go round around the houses where you end up, and I've had a situation where you then give the chatbot your number.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I think the chatbot then sells that.
Probably.
To
the people that keep ringing you about the diesel compensation scheme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had that call this week.
Did you see? I'm still getting those.
Yeah, I'm still getting those. And I did have, strangely, I've been driving since 1989, so I've had a number of diesel cars over that time, but I don't appear to be making any money.
No, I wouldn't go with these guys, though, on the phone.
But it is that thing that it doesn't matter which way you approach it, you never get a follow-up.
No.
Nobody
the worst thing is when you
gets back
start
to you.
believing in it and you actually go through the process of asking it a few questions or telling them a few things, and then they get to the end and they go, "We can't help you with that."
Yeah.
And you go, "Well, I've just spent 10 minutes talking to you."
And then they ask you, how helpful was that?
Yeah.
You just told me you can't help.
Rate this out of 5.
Yeah.
No.
0.
I'm sorry we can't help you on this.
Yeah.
How helpful was I? Well, you just
Not
said
at
you
all.
can't help me, so
You're
you
not
weren't
a
helpful
person.
at all.
You can't say how helpful was I.
No.
Because you are not a person. You know, how helpful was this crappy bit of technology? Not at all.
Really useless.
And
Particularly
and now I have wasted 45 minutes of my life,
Yeah.
and I am no further to a resolution.
No.
Thanks to you, Mr.
No.
Chatbot.
It is
Or
hopeless.
Mrs. Chatbot.
It is
We're going to be
hopeless.
balanced.
They are
But I mean,
annoying.
if there was a phone number, you wouldn't be able to get through to anyone either, because you just get, your call is important to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are number 4,336 in line, and then you wait 10 minutes and give up.
But you know that now they have...
I thought it was quite a good point.
Yeah, no, it was a good point. But, it was a good point. But literally, at the point you were making that point,
Yeah.
Chuck, our producer, was talking into my ear.
Was he?
Yeah,
Was he?
and
Oh,
it
okay.
threw off my concentration.
Now you see?
What was he saying? Try to get an argument going. The viewers love that.
No.
That's usually what he says.
No, you wouldn't at all, because, like, quite frankly, we can do that without
We
his
can.
help.
We don't need prompting for that. We are grumpy.
But just, you've got all these people,
Yeah.
right, in, I don't know, Beijing maybe,
Yeah.
or Bangladesh,
Yeah.
who quite obviously
Vietnam,
need,
a lot of
or
them now.
Vietnam,
Yeah.
who quite obviously need work.
Yeah?
Why have we got chatbots as well?
Well, we need help, is what we need. We don't need people who can't help us.
Oh, but the chatbot will help you.
Yeah, but AI and chatbots are not interested in fostering further employment for people. They are the enemies of employment. They don't care about people's jobs. The whole point of them is to put people out of work so it's cheaper for companies.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the company suffers because if you can't engage as a consumer properly, you're just going to give
They
up
don't
and not
think
use
like
the
that,
service.
though, do
Yeah.
they? They don't think like
You
that.
just stop using the service
Yeah.
unless you need it.
But that's the problem. If you have to phone somebody or get some help with something that you bought, you need to talk to them.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I tell you what you're going to do. You're going to talk to
Go out.
Mike about couples in public.
Yeah, you're going to go out for a drink is what you're going to do, which is what I do.
Yeah.
And I was out for a drink just last week. funnily enough.
Couples in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out for a drink last week, and I was in a bar over by Borough Market, very nice bar. And
Was it that bar that we've been in together? Was it the one in the archway? Is
So,
it?
do you mean
Yes.
GAY nightclub?
That's the one.
That's
Yeah.
the one,
yeah.
yeah.
not the
Everyone's very friendly. In there.
yeah. No, I don't
Especially
think it
if
was.
you're wearing a hat.
We were sitting outside actually, so I don't think it's the same bar. I can't actually remember what bar you and I have been in.
Paria.
Oh no, not that one. No.
Okay.
You know, they've changed that.
Have they?
They've got to be a grump about that soon because they've taken away all the lovely sofas where you could sit and lounge.
Oh, that place,
Right.
that Spanish place.
That's really nice, right? But they've replaced all of the
that's a
lounges
shame.
with tables and chairs.
Oh.
So you actually have to sit at a table, which is not what you want. But it's just opposite there anyway.
Because that sofa guaranteed at least 2 more bottles of rosé out of you.
It did, absolutely right. So I was just on the other side of the road, actually, sitting outside, waiting for my companion to join me.
Being asked questions
and,
by random people.
Well, luckily, no, because I perched
Big ass
myself in a
companion.
place. But there was a couple sort of diagonally opposite me who I was watching, right? And they were of a sort of, you know, you would say mid-age, I suppose, in their 30s, I would say, late 30s.
Is that
they
middle?
weren't-
I
They
thought I
weren't.
was.
Well, I
That
say
sounds
mid.
like hideously
It's
young
not,
to
not
me.
middle-aged. I mean
Yeah,
mid-age.
yeah, I got it. Young middle-age,
I'm
yeah.
saying mid-age. They weren't
Mid-age.
young, is my point.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
20-something, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what they were doing?
What? Kissing and
No.
No?
They were playing cards. And I said to myself, what on earth are you doing? Right?
What's it? Hold on.
Why are they playing cards?
Would you rather they were French kissing and
No, I don't want them to
he
French
was
in,
kiss
in
and
that
frotting?
Spanish bar
No,
restaurant?
no, it was another bar. It was outside the other bar. I'm not going to name the bar, obviously, but
Right.
I go there
So
quite a
hold
lot.
on. What is so offensive about playing cards?
What are you doing playing cards? You're going out with your boyfriend, your girlfriend. What are you playing cards for?
What,
You probably don't like
you
each
want to
other.
be? You want them to be doing slammers and then
How about a bit of conversation? Or, you know, I don't know, smoking a
Wait,
cigarette.
do we know what game they were playing?
It looked like whist to me.
With snap.
Well,
Although apparently,
snatch.
that's where they made the mistake.
well, you know, I'll tell you what,
were
it could
they
be. Somebody
thinking?
told me this week that the big new thing is bridge.
Yes.
In a pub.
This wasn't in a pub though; it was outside a wine bar, effectively.
Yeah.
But I
Bridge-
just thought,
seemingly Bridge has got cool.
but who? Yeah, but surely you wouldn't go out and play bridge in a pub, would you?
Well,
it'd be different if
that'd
it
be
was-
4 of you, wouldn't
No,
it?
but if you went if it was a bridge
How do we
club,
know they were a couple? Did they between cards? Did he plant one on her, or were they a brother? They might have been a brother and
I'm
sister.
a very good observer of couples, right?
Right.
For obvious reasons. I detected enough signs that they were a couple together. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. And they got up together. They left together. They finished playing cards.
Yeah.
But then
Who
they
won?
didn't. Then they didn't. I don't know, because there was no sign of who'd won. They didn't do anything else. They didn't speak to each other really. They sort of just sat there.
I think it's a good thing, though, isn't it? I really like the advent of mobile phones because when you go out with your wife, you don't have to talk to her anymore.
But people
just
do
play
that.
with your phone.
It's insane, and people just sit there, don't speak to each other.
Well, no, but I mean, I think I don't know. It's the slightly more
playing cards
analog
is weird.
nature of cards appeals to me over
It's a weird
two
thing to
people
do.
sitting
Mum
there.
and Mike, it's a weird thing to do in a pub.
Or
Yeah,
what would you say if I turned up on my own and sat at a table and started playing solitaire?
I just go,
Yeah, I suppose
He's a bit
I just go,
neurodiverse.
you're a bit neurodiverse. You should put that on TikTok. What you should do is put that on TikTok. Here's me playing solitaire on my own in a bar.
Yeah.
That
Probably
would
get
work.
loads of views and make some money.
Yeah.
I just think it's odd, weird.
It is odd.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it. It's upset you.
It has.
But
It made me grumpy.
It's got on the wrong side of it.
It didn't stop the rosé going down your
didn't.
throat, though.
No, it didn't. No.
Good. Kevin, you're upset about how much the king is worth.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So this is the Sunday Times Rich List.
Oh, the rich list.
It's just come out, and it's revealed
King's
that the
just come
king
out?
is worth 640 million quid. And in the last year, his personal fortune, this is his personal fortune,
Right.
nothing to do with the Crown Estate or the palaces or the kind of royal
Is this the
possessions.
Dutch?
He's just his own.
No,
money.
he's not, he doesn't own the
No, he
Dutch
gave that
anymore.
to
That's-
William.
well,
He
the
gave
Prince
it
of
to
Wales one's the
Yeah.
Dutch.
Yeah, but he's got the brand, doesn't he?
No.
His biscuits and stuff.
No.
I think
That's all
William's
Prince,
got all that
That's
now.
all Prince William now. So this is, in the last year, his fortune's gone up by £30 million. It's to do with his investment portfolio. Now,
It's not great return.
the Queen,
640.
it's not bad, 30 million, I think.
No, but I mean, as a percentage, it's not even 10%.
I think it's grotesque that he's got this much money.
5%.
The Queen was worth 370 million.
Yeah.
And he's now worth 640 million pounds. He's worth like twice what she ever was. His personal wealth is astronomical. He's the richest sovereign ever in this country. And there's something, I don't think it's quite right. He shouldn't have this much money.
Will he-
And
Will
he
he be
can shut
leaving
up
it to
about
William?
he can shut up in future about all his good, worthy causes and all this green crap because he wants us all to sort of collect money for good causes. Well, he can pay for it. He's got 640 million
if
quid.
if you were sitting in your rented house in Montecito and you saw that figure, would you think, so how much?
Yeah, well, Harry will hate this.
How much are we getting of that?
Yeah. There's only I
better start being nice to them again.
Yes.
King strikes me as a sort of nice, if rather spineless guy.
You heard it here.
But far too woke for me, far too green. Bit like William as well, the green idiots. But one thing I like about the king is he's finally
as we drown in the milk of human kindness.
No, he's developed a backbone about Harry.
He has.
He's cut Harry right off. You're not getting any money. I'm not even talking to you anymore. So I'm with the king at last. But generally speaking, I don't think he should have...
But I mean, you don't want a king to be poor, do you?
Yeah.
No.
That would be fun.
Because then you'd have to walk
He's
around trying to
he'd be
make
there.
money.
He'd be there
Yeah.
doing a walkabout going...
Well, he can, if he's... Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't need 640 million quid. Why doesn't he give it to the
Well,
poor?
what's the cut-off then?
The king could be worth...
this bouquet of flowers.
The king could be
I need
worth
to go and
20
get a
million
grape.
quid.
20 million.
20
But
million.
that's less than any footballer that walks around.
Well, it's deservedly so. He's useless at football.
You always say the poor are
I mean, it's
feckless
not like
anyway.
Man United
I
are going
don't
to
think
sign the
anyone's
king up,
asking
are
him
they?
to play in the Premier League.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
but
the
you
king...
can't have the king not making as much money as, you know, somebody who plays centre forward for
Well,
Manchester United.
he shouldn't make as much money as a great centre forward. Of
course he should.
Great centre forward.
the king.
No, well, he's got no skills.
He's got plenty of skill.
No, he hasn't. He couldn't
has.
play striker for Man City. He's
can-
no Erling Haagen,
he
is
can
he?
play polo.
Huh?
Who?
Yeah, very good
Erling
polo
Haagen.
player.
He's not one of those, is he?
Polo, which is a
Polo's
very
hard game to
universal
play.
sport.
Polo's a disgusting game. It's cruel to horses.
Yeah, but it's still difficult to play.
Yeah, it's
You
rubbish.
said he didn't have any
it's
skills.
rubbish.
Well, you said he didn't have any
no,
skills.
he was a crap. He was a crap polo player.
Good to have on
He
the team,
always
though.
falling off. I know. I saw him loads of times. He couldn't barely ride a horse. That guy.
I just get
Honestly,
rid of him. Off with his
he's a king.
head.
He's a king of no talent.
Off with his head.
He's a king of no talent. And he shouldn't have so much money.
Up the revolution.
Green lefty king.
What about
shouldn't
Camilla?
have 640 million quid. Give it to me.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There we
There's
get
the
the
answer.
real
Got to the bottom of it now, haven't
Give
we?
it to Kev.
Jealousy.
He do
Just
something
jealousy.
proper with it. Now, listen, if you had 640 million quid,
Yeah.
right, would you ensure that your new car had a spare tyre?
Well, you might be struggling to find one actually, because
Because there ain't.
They haven't
most
got
of them
them anymore,
don't
have they?
What the hell has happened to spare tyres?
You need to get like one of those big old Land Rovers or a Range Rover. to find
With the
out,
one
actually.
on the back. Yeah.
So we've got, we at home, because we've got the enormous dog, have got a very old Land Rover Discovery.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it a 3 or a 4?
It's a 4.
Okay, because I had a 3. They're the worst.
Yeah, no, the 4 was all right,
Yeah.
and it's got a spare tyre.
What are they up to now?
What, in terms of?
Of Land Rover Discovery?
Oh,
5,
I
6,
don't
7?
It's now just called a Discovery.
There's something weird, but this
But the
is
3's
it's the old
really
boxy
badly
shape.
made, and they kept
It's the old
breaking down.
boxy shape, right? You do need a degree in engineering to change the tyre, but at least you can do it.
Yes.
I, as you know, Mike, suffer the affliction of a crappy electric car.
You do?
Which I...
Only yourself to blame.
But
I know.
You didn't choose that.
I did it for the parking.
Yeah.
All right? And then they changed the rules. That, I discovered the other week, no spare tyre.
No spare time.
But what they do very kindly do...
You got phone.
Well, no, not only that, you've got phone, but also a thing that you can plug into the cigarette lighter.
Oh, yeah.
When nobody...
Nobody's got a cigarette lighter either, have they?
No.
No.
I haven't.
Plug it into that, and it will pump the tyre up. It's got a little, pneumatic electric
Well, that's
tyre
clever.
thing. But the foam doesn't work.
No.
Why do they even bother putting the foam in?
Well, the foam
They
only
should
works.
you should take the can of foam out, and as you turn it round, it should just
What's
say...
the foam for?
Filling the hole, basically.
Okay.
So
you can fix it. Okay.
So you can fix it, but it doesn't work.
No, but you can only fix if it's on the outside of the tyre, the bit that hits the ground. If it's on the inside wall, you can't fix it.
Well, as
Then
I
you're
discovered.
screwed.
As I discovered. So that can of foam on the side of it should say, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You're walking
It
up.
should. Yeah.
As I drove down the hard shoulder of the
walking up.
M4,
You're lucky you didn't have an accident.
I
Having a
nearly
blowout on a motorway, and it's quite a serious problem.
Look, but the whole point is like part of the rite of passage as a motorist is learning how to change a tyre.
Exactly.
It's another one of those things that have been removed from humanity. You've changed a tyre, Kev.
Yeah.
You've changed
I
the
have.
tyre, right? You're supposed to be able to change a tyre, but if you haven't got one,
What are you supposed to do?
what are you supposed to do?
I know.
You just sit there, and actually what you're doing is you're then searching on your phone for a local
Guy to come and do
guy
it.
to come pick up who makes up the number.
How much does that cost? That
So, well, the first guy I rang, that's 250 quid.
That's what I
And I
thought.
went, can you do any better than that? He went, I might be able to get to 200. I went, well, hold on. I said, you've dropped by quite a large percentage already.
Yeah.
So then I went,
right,
I said, let me call you back. I called the next bloke. He went, 175.
Yeah.
I said, what about 150?
It's not a competition.
yeah.
He went, all right. And then the other bloke rang back and went, all right, you're right at 200. I went, no, I've got someone else who's going to do it for 150.
Yeah.
He went,
they won't do it properly.
He went,
It's a cowboy.
I wouldn't trust him.
I wouldn't trust
him.
They're all the bloody same,
Yeah, I
aren't
know.
they?
It is ridiculous.
Just give me a spare tyre.
But
That's
most
all
people,
I want. I want a
right, when
spare
they buy a
tyre.
car
I'm happy
now-
to change it. I'm able to change it.
But
I'm happy
most
to
people
change
don't
it.
even. I bet you, if you went up to people in the street, not that I would recommend that,
don't.
obviously, but
'Cause they'll think
they
you're
wouldn't
weird.
know, because people don't know if they've got a spare tyre until they get blowout, and then they go, "Oh, I didn't know I
I
didn't have
don't
a
think
spare
I know
tyre."
if I've got one.
Yeah.
Anything other than the can of foam, which
Yeah.
is just taking the piss. Anyway, that's all for this week. Stay grumpy. Thanks to Mike and Kev, as ever. Bye now.